Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma, and today we'll be talking about the very interesting topic of cures to extremism. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. In today's day and time, there is much widespread extremism in very facets. So we look to solve these extremisms, inshallah ta'ala, and we begin right here on today's show. Last week we talked about extremism itself. Today we want to bring some cures, inshallah ta'ala, because we ran out of time. So before we go into the subject, I want to begin by introducing our guests. Beginning with my right, we have Brother Muhammad Ali, all the way from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Brother Muhammad?
I'm good.
Alhamdulillah. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm a student in the Faculty of Islamic and Sharia Law, Islamic and Qanun. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, a 200 level student,
Okay.
staying in Egypt from Nigeria, and that's all.
Alhamdulillah. Secondly, we have Brother Shafi'i, all the way from Tanzania. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all the way from Tanzania, East Africa.
Aight.
And like I mentioned last time, since Allah granted me a daughter, can still call me Abu Kawthar.
Alhamdulillah, Abu Kawthar, we gotta get it right.
Yeah, you gotta get it straight. And for people who don't know me, I'm an Azhar student. I take Arabic language, general Arabic language.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I heard Arabic is one of the hardest faculties in Azhar.
Yeah, people say.
That's what they say, but not for Abu Kawthar though.
Not-
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. Next we have Brother Idris, alhamdulillah, the veteran of this show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Please tell us a bit about yourself, Brother Idris.
Yeah, I'm from America. I've been here for a few years, studying Arabic, memorizing Quran and teaching English, and just trying to benefit, inshallah, while I'm here in the country.
Alhamdulillah, Barakallahu Feek. Last but certainly not least, we have Egypt's finest, Brother Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. My name is Ahmed, and I'm teaching English, and as well at the same time human resources trainer, and specialized in soft skills.
Okay, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So let's get right into the topic. We're going to begin by first qualifying the term extremism, as the theme of the show is cures for extremism. So as to be, completely clear as to what we intend to talk about curing, how do we define extremism, Brother Muhammad Ali?
Alhamdulillah. Like last time, we've started the whole show talking about extremism and the meaning of extremism. Extremism is just a word, gulu, in Arabic, which means going beyond the principles cited by the Quran and Sunnah, going beyond what the Allah says and what the Rasul says on how to operate in one's life in terms of Islamic understanding. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Brother Shafi?
Well, like we talked last time, it is the same thing. To go beyond the limits with religion or anything you go beyond it. If I'm talking about religion, to go behind it, the Qanun, the Sharia of, for example, if you're Islam, you go beyond the limit of Sharia, then I consider it it's extremism in the Deen.
Okay.
It's just to go beyond the limit, and actually, I love the topic for the fact of. I love the topic because we really need to let know what's going on.
Okay, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Brother Muhammad Ali, I'm going to come back to you with a question regarding the maqasid of the Sharia, the purposes of the Sharia, and then perhaps we can draw some benefits as to how to cure extremism, because anything that abuses the Sharia or goes out of bounds from the Sharia, it should be considered extremism. So since you are our resident scholar in for Sharia, perhaps you can give it to the
Just a little bit of experience. I'm just
Okay.
a student. We're just doing some
Alhamdulillah.
maqasid, how to interpret.
Yeah, تمام. But the ulama say, إذا جعل ما بطل تيمم. So since the man's not here, you tayammum, inshallah.
Always say.
We're going to come to Idris,
right.
then I'll come back to you, inshallah.
Okay,
Brother Idris.
You asking me the question about extremism?
Yes, extremism.
Yeah, as I mentioned already, it's basically ghulu, like I said, to go beyond the limits of something that's already prescribed. And that also includes irja', which is like a murji, someone who leaves off. So it doesn't necessarily mean someone who only, as far as we're concerned, in our definition, is not someone who only goes beyond the limits, also someone who leaves off the limits, the opposite direction, which we call irja', which is murji. And that's it, pretty much. That's the base premise. Also, I think it's important to point out that for us, we don't consider this just only, like simply a religious thing. Because, as Muslims, the deen is the way of life. It isn't like, okay, this is your religion only, and then your other life is still a little different. For us, it's a comprehensive thing. For people, maybe if they're listening and they're not Muslim, they should know that we're not talking about just religion only.
Okay.
We're talking about, just life in general. Going beyond the means of something or leaving out something that you shouldn't leave off.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Brother Ahmed?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Brother Idris said about this matter, but also extremism is called like exceeding or exaggerating, like doing something in a very weird and strange way. Why are you doing this? So this is called exceeding the limits, exaggerating, leaving out the things that all of the people are aware of that or aware of them. Like, for example, just doing things in a very very untraditional way, very weird way, doing something, your way of talking, not just only by the actions, maybe the way of talking itself, it could be extremism. We can call it extremism, or we can categorize the person as extremist from his way or her way of talking.
Okay. All right. Now, Brother Muhammad Ali, regarding the maqasid al-sharia.
Well, maqasid al-sharia, if we say maqasid al-sharia, this is a general principle which the deen is always observant when it comes to the practical operation of one's life in this deen. For example, before you do sharia is just a term, it's an Arabic term which refers to the law for the divine. Being set down to rule and control the lives of a human as a Muslim. So everything that has been set in by the Almighty God has a very specific interest. The target is it actually want to achieve at the end of the day. So if we're saying maybe from the legislation, Islamic legislation, the history of the Islamic legislation is just running around the three things.
Okay.
That's ri'ayatu masalihun nas. It's always trying to ensuring the very general convenience of everyone in the society.
So the convenience of society.
I shouldn't just do you wrong, and you never do something wrong to me. We should just stay. You should give me my own chance. I give you your own chance. Everyone should stay as an integral part of the society without any harassment or things like that.
Okay.
And secondly is to have a social justice system within human. If I do something which is contrary to the deen, or I did something wrong to you, you have the right to claim that. And I also did something. It's just ensuring an equity in the society, in the Islamic society. And then the top thing is all the deen, the Almighty, everything you're seeing as if it's hardship, you see it from your own simple sense. Maybe you've seen this thing. Sometimes Allah or the deen is always trying to raf'ul haraj. It's trying to ease the hardship on a Muslim life.
Okay.
There is nothing that Allah make it very, very extreme. Very high to you, making you very uncomfortable with your own life to exercise. You understand? We have not sent something hardship. We have not composed you into this religion. The Almighty Allah wants to have ease into your life, and not to make it very, very unrest into your life.
Okay.
So all these things, when you are coming with this thing, from that concept, you're going to understand that, okay, the Islamic religion is the religion that, in fact, certainly 100%, it says no to extremism, because
Okay.
the whole concept is trying to tell you that, okay, extremism is not part of the deen of Islam.
Okay.
Because if we see from an example, who is the example, the central man to the ummah of this very beautiful Islamic society is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a very good example. We try to copy all the time from him. Everything of his own life we copy, from the way he is doing, relating with people, from the way his mannerism and other things. We tend to look him as an epitome of an example into our own life.
Okay.
So if you look at even the verses of the Quran, maybe وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ أو وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you to the entire kingdom of mankind, but to give them tidings and warning. We have not sent you, but only a mercy to the entire kingdom of man.
Okay.
So you see, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ. Here, أَرْسَلْنَاكَ that's the beauty of for somebody to just get loaded in the Arabic interpretation of the Hadith and the Sunnah before going for any other thing, maybe Sharia, Hadith, and this thing. This is wasila, is very important. It's a tool for you to have a clean understanding of the deen. So he said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ, he's trying to say, we have not only. So the general, or the aim of the arrival of the Prophet of Allah is just as a rahmah to the entire kingdom.
Okay.
It's not to bring about extremism and say. So if you want to see it from this very example, we'll understand that truly Islam is a deen that, that have a full of tolerance, that invites everyone into the deen, that says, no, okay, we don't have to fight with anyone, we don't have to have grudges with people. We have to see how we can be able to relate with any other one in the society, we among ourselves within the Muslim and even outside the Muslim, because some people from that, they couldn't understand. Even if you look at the beautiful verses of the Quran, there is no specific one place in the Quran that says kill somebody. No.
Okay. You know
if
what?
Somebody told
I think this is a good place to stop, inshallah, because you said a few things I just want to touch on, inshallah.
Yeah, right.
The first thing, as Sheikh Rida Bidar, he said in the halaqah recently, that Islam is made up of three things, which he said is aqidah, ibadah, and mu'amalat.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a lot of things like mercy and tolerance and justice and equity, but I want to focus on, let's say, aqidah first, right? This is the compartmentalized things. How do you solve, and this is for Brother Shafi, how do you solve extremism in beliefs, in the beliefs that we have in Islam? How do you begin to solve these issues? Because before you can even get to understanding Islam, if you have extreme beliefs in Islam, it will cause extremism in other facets. So how do we even approach that? If someone has extreme ideas, how do we begin to solve this issue?
See, the beautiful thing in Islam is Islam already came up with the solutions to all of this stuff. So for me, if you ask me that question, I will look at the religion because the religion is a system of life, and this is the way I live, and this is the way this is something I believe in my life. So I'll take the example from my deen, starting from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he's the best example in the world. Not even only for Muslims, the best example for all mankind.
Okay.
So first of all, in order to solve that, we need to look at him, because he's the best example.
Okay.
And I mean the whole region, Kitab wa Sunnah, all deen. And then individuality, for example, I can to try to break down that, it's like, first we need to in order to solve that, we need to look at the youth, starting from our kids, children, the way they grow up, because kids, if we do not teach them the best examples, the good, we don't provide the good knowledge, they're going to come up and now we have this extremism from them.
Okay.
So I think we need to start from the beginning. And first of all, we remember the source, the cause of this stuff is coming from arrogant and ignorance.
Okay.
So we need to cure this before we come up to the effect, and to teach people, to give them knowledge,
Okay.
and the scholars, especially Muslim scholars, to teach people and people to sit with them to get knowledge in order to remove or to stay away from ignorance. And the last thing I can see is those Muslim scholars to be better, or to have a good way to express or to give Sharia expressions, to make it clear, to explain it clear, Sharia expressions. Because if people, they don't get it or they don't understand Sharia expressions, they're gonna get to extremism.
Okay.
Because for example, the word al-fitna, I think a lot of people, they don't understand it well. So Muslim scholars, they must give us the clear expressions of mustalah diniya, mustalah sharia islamiyya. I give the example of fitna. If people, they talk about fitna, always they understand something that we don't need to deal with it. Because once you start dealing with the fitna, you're going to cause a lot of trouble. For example, someone killed 100 people, maybe by bomb or whatever. We're not going to talk about it because you're gonna cause fitna. No, this is not the kind of fitna we need to talk about. So my point is, Muslim scholars, they need, or they must express, they must explain clearly Sharia mustalahat.
Okay, so it begins with education and tarbiyah.
Education and tarbiyah.
Okay, Brother Idris?
I don't really know. I didn't know this was going to be the question. So honestly, I can't really add more than what he already said. It's just basically education and wiping away the idea of this feeling of a lot of youth that they get a little knowledge and they feel like they know.
Okay.
So educating and humbling oneself is helping people humble themselves is the cure to this ignorance is a way of extremism.
Okay.
Okay, mashallah, all my brothers covered all the points regarding how can we solve this problem, or just how can we provide a proposal, suggestions for eliminating the extremism in our society. But we should get back to the root cause of extremism, which is the wrong information or the wrong way of delivering the information to the little kids. Like, for example, if the parent himself or herself knows a kind of wrong information about something, what's wrong about just like correcting your information? You have to study, you have to read a little bit when it comes to Sirah Nabawiyya, approaches of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Holy Quran. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that تركت فيكم ما إن تمسكتم به لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا كتاب الله وسنتي. Left something that you will not be able to lose the way if you are going to abide by the rules, the Holy Quran and my approaches. So in that case, what I'm trying to say is you can abide by the rules of the Holy Quran and approaches and get the right tafsir or the right way of justification, everything, and I believe that it will be in the right track and will never miss your way, because you as a single unit, as a parent, as a family, you are the basic unit of the society. So in that case, you will affecting either in a good way or a bad way according to the way of getting the information. So it has to be correct.
Okay. So let's go back. It seems it's going back to the example of the Prophet ﷺ. So what examples can we take from the life of the Nabi ﷺ and and as a cure for extremism? What are some examples from his life or from his sunnah, some things that he implemented?
Yeah, I think it's very simple, and there are several of experience we can be able to learn from the life of the Rasul. See, a Rasul is a personality that have a wide degree of simplicity. He's a man of leniency, he's a man of understanding, he's a man of mannerism, and he's a man that truly understands the principle of humanitarianism. The way he relate with people, he relate in a very positive way with the Muslim community and outside the Muslim community, and that's the Christian, the Jews, and whatever, the pagans in the history. He has really read with them in the best way, you understand? So he never called for something, okay, for a problem like that, okay, calling people to kill some people that are not Muslim. He always even encourages people to show them the good mannerisms of the Quran. In fact, what makes him very successful in the deen, or to success this deen from the history, is as a result of his leniency and good qualities, the way he talks, the way he relates with people. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. The Almighty Allah is saying, even if you happens to be somebody that have a very, very strong mind, those people within you, they haven't stayed with you even to succeed you, to make it comfortable for you to succeed in championing their own mind. But because of the simplicity with the Almighty make him like that, invite people, is a kind of political ideology that invite people to like him, to come, trooping into the deen of Islam. Even the A'da, the hostiles of Islam, these are the kind of qualities they see, and some of them reverted to Islam. If you can be able to recall right from history, some people, because of the way he did to them, I could remember a boy, a Jewish boy, who happens to be very rude. He always, doing a lot of nonsense to him sometime before he grown into his own capacity, the Prophet of Allah. So anytime he just come to pass, he'll like throw him some stone, chucking around things like that, doing some crazy things like that. So he said, this boy usually came every day to do this thing, but the Rasul keep on patient and patient and patient. So one day I could remember he couldn't see him, and he just asked, where is that boy that always always come to throw me the stones and say some horrible things to me? And they say, no, the boy is not fine, he's ill. So he said, okay, I want you to show me his house. I want to go and visit him to say him hi. So he visited him to his house, and he went there and he saw him on bed. He's just very terrible. His condition is very dangerous. So they were all shocked, very surprised with the way, how could this man were doing some wrong things, horrible things to him, could come to this extent and say, okay, he just come for the purpose to greet this person who has been doing wrong to him. And they were all surprised. So at that spot, the Almighty Allah make it to be the last hour for his moment in life. He was just looking up to, glancing at the Prophet, and the Prophet is glancing at him. And the Prophet say, okay, just say the word, that I could be able to take that as an excuse to really succeed you into paradise, that can be able to ticket you into Jannah, believing in the deen of Allah, that Allah is the one, there is no worthy of worship, and I am the Prophet of Allah. So he was gazing at him. He wanted to say it, but because of the presence of his dad, he couldn't say it, because the dad isn't a Muslim, he's a Jew. So he said it again and again and again. He was just raising to him. And the dad, because he's just caring of the dad. So the dad said, no, just believe with him, you can be able to say it. And the boy says, and the Rasul was very, very amazing. He was very happy, smiling, and said, okay, I thank God for using me to be a circle to the life of this boy. That's, okay, qualifying him to be in the Jannah. So I think from there we can be able to draw a point to have a very reasonable discussion and understanding of the Islam, to see the beauty and the way Islam keep on giving a very good and positive culture to the life of a Muslim. There is no way a person who is having a so merciful to this extent could go to this extent and do these good things, and you should expect people coming in the name of Islam, coming these days in the 21st century and say, okay, we really want to come and see how we can be able to clear off some people. And some of the Muslims are not even killing the non-Muslim, they are killing the Muslims. And some are killing the non-Muslim and the Muslim together. You can see what is going on around the world, saying in the name of jihad. And, in the name of jihad. And the Rasul is saying the best jihad you could do is to battle your own soul to see how you can find the evil within you. That's the best jihad you could do. You are not you didn't purify yourself and have a clarity of understanding of Islam. And you sit down, you want to judge somebody. Because for me to say, okay, I want to kill somebody, it's like I'm judging myself. And one of the problem we have in these days, the way, because there was a video that I saw some times ago, some people, I can't really say it because in a particular region of the world, some people have been the study of Hadith, you cannot do away with it. It's very important. The Hadith and the Quran, these are where we design our operation for Deen. But you can see some people are having a wrong understanding of the Hadith. Sometimes even the Ayatul Qurani, the verses of the Quran, they'll be saying, okay, Hadith, the Prophet said this. Even the Prophet said this is coming with Hadith from Bukhari and Muslim. But the way he's just killing the whole thing, doing qiyas, he's just doing a very terrible qiyas, causing a very lot of confusion and craziness in the life of the Islam. Because he's just looking at the peripheral contextual, he's just looking at the peripheral understanding of the Hadith, the Zawahirul Hadith. You understand? I don't know whether you understand.
Yeah,
he's just looking at he's not looking at the
level.
in-depth explanation of what the Quran and the sketch of the Sharia before beaming into this very ayat and hadith. From there, you just begin to come with hadith and say, okay, the Rasul is saying this and this. And before you know, because he lacks the understanding of the Sharia, maqasid, Sharia, Islamiyah, Lugha, and all these things, he will just do mess at the end of the day, taking the hadith or the ayah. It's a very pure, and there isn't, maybe it's not naive. It's a very sound hadith. But the way he's just doing the qiyas, he's scaring the whole thing, is just causing a problem. And that's the problem we're having. You just go on stating ayah, just maybe somebody sit down, he just see the explanation from there without going to the ulama, the sheikh, the very qualitative scholars who will guide him and set him on the right track to follow the deen and understand. You cannot just take Quran and Sunnah Hadith just like that and say, okay, I'm satisfied, this is going to guide me. No, it's not done like that. You understand first, you have to take the Quran, the Sunnah, then know the deep index of Sharia. Because Sharia is the one to guide you on how to use this very hadith and how to, what is the maqasid. There is somebody, a scholar, Shankiti, I can remember, saying something very interesting. He said there is fiqhul nusus and then the fiqhul hawadith.
Brother Muhammad, I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to have a break, inshallah. When we return from the break, you can explain this very point, inshallah.
All right.
Okay. We'll be back for a short break. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Yusuf Karma. You're watching Let's Talk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Perfect my life and I praise. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are.
Go ahead, Ya Shu'aib. Recite from ayah number 16 to 26.
Yeah, okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد
المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد
جاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد وجاءت نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite station, Huda TV. Today we're talking about the very interesting topic of solutions to extremism, inshallah ta'ala. We left off with Brother Muhammad Ali giving us some examples from the life of the Prophet ﷺ as to how to solve extremism. We're going to return back to Muhammad, and then we'll go to Abu Kawthar, inshallah ta'ala, to continue the discussion.
Assalamu alaikum. So what I'm really saying is the saying of one of the scholars of this ummah. He says there is something, if we really want to understand, maybe going with the hadith and the sunnah, the Quran, the verses of the Quran, sometimes we need to understand the zawahir al-nusus. There is a zawahir al-nusus and the fiqh al-zawahir al-nusus or fiqh al-hawadith. There is thus the nusus, the explanation of the understanding of the explanation of the Quran and the Hadith, and also the conditional understanding of the moment to which the Muslim are existing. Sometimes there are kind of things, if you see the Quran and the Sunnah, you have to understand, okay, where are we staying? How is the ahwal of the people? How are the people doing? What is the kind of problem we are having there? So from there, you can be able to, say, because of the problem we have in this society, and then the problem we are facing, this is foremost priority. So we can be able to scale and say, that's how we can be able to do the analysis and use them in a very good way, not in the wrong way, causing confusion and all mayhem, as you can see in the Muslim society. So it's just for you to have an in-depth explanation and understanding of the Quran and the Hadith, and then knowing how you can be able to make qiyas to the practical realities at the moment of our situation. And that's the central thing we have to understand all the time.
And just to add on, this isn't for everyone. This isn't for everyone to be doing. This is for people, tulab al-ilm, or there's someone that's just...
Yeah, exactly. Right? But these are the people you can see some wrong scholars coming with a very crazy dawah.
And they aren't scholars to begin with, right?
And this thing,
usually the layman.
Without using all these things, they're just coming to cause confusion and all that.
Brother,
separating Muslim society.
Again, like I said first, one of the beautiful things in Islam I love is Islam, or my system of life, teaches us even small thing, even for person, how to go to use bathroom. Excuse me, I'm fluent this way. If Islam teaches us even small thing. So in order to bring in examples, we have so many examples from our lifetime, even from different ages. I mean, Prophet time with Sahaba. I remember when Prophet Muhammad said, Prophet Muhammad said, "Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha laysa fihi man ahdatha fi amrina hadha laysa fihi ma laysa fihi rad." So many examples we find. Like he said, anyone who came up with something new in our region, rejected. And I remember another example when the women there's a woman came to Sayyid Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, and then she didn't want to talk anything. She was quiet. And people say, Sayyid Abu Bakr asked why, and people say she intended to do that because she took nadr.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Sayyid Abu Bakr told her to told her to speak, to stop that nadr, which means, like Brother Idris mentioned first, when we talk about extremism, even personal, not only if in the deen, even by yourself, you can have these extremism things, like to do things beyond the limit, or not to do, to live off. So to live mubah, even to live mubah, we consider as extremism. Something Allah gave.
Explain the terms mubah for those who may not understand.
Mubah is something that is allowed to do. It's not. If you do it, I mean, you get reward. I mean, something is halal. Even you can live off to do something halal.
Yeah.
That's we consider extremism. Even to do halal and to go beyond the limit, that's harm. So when the woman came up to Abu Bakr, Abu Bakr told her to speak, to talk. In our Islam, everything is easy. And the Prophet say, "Din yusr, inna dina yusr." Inna dina yusrun. I mean, deen is not difficult. So we have so many examples from Prophet Muhammad, because he's the best examples. He's good and Hasan.
Okay, Brother Idris.
Yeah, generally speaking, I would like to make sure I clarify and put certain things. Is that the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, generally speaking, when he dealt with people on an individual level, he always would choose, ease and the best choice, and treated them so kindly, even when they weren't always kind to him. Always. Now, when he dealt with people on a state level, it was always different. It could be kind, it could not be. He may order them to be killed. This was a state level. Of course, none of us are in this situation in this time and age, but I want to make sure that we have a balanced approach to where we know we keep it, on a state level is different than an individual level. And also, if we're talking about incidents, the only one that comes to my mind is one that I remember reading last week about when the Rasulullah entered the masjid one time, and he saw a rope that was tied to, I can't remember what was tied, to the tree or to the wall. I think it was to the wall. And he asked the Sahaba, "What is this, and why is it here?" And they told him, this is the rope of your wife. I forget which one it was now, because this was something I read 2 weeks ago, and for some reason that story is a little vague to me. It was the rope of your wife. She uses it when she prays. When she's praying, she's fine. But when she gets tired, she ties the rope or holds onto the rope to hold herself up, because she's tired.
This is not Qiyam al-Layl or something like this?
Yes, she's praying on her own.
Just 5 days?
Just like maybe at nighttime, she's praying Qiyam al-Layl or whatever. She's just praying, her own,
I'm making sure, because...
Yeah, voluntary prayer.
Okay.
All right, she's praying voluntary prayer. She uses it to hold herself up, because she's tired. He told them, remove the rope. And then he told her, make sure that she knows that, this is an interesting part too. He didn't go tell her herself, he told the Sahaba, make sure that she knows, which is kind of like some people would think, oh, we can't talk to women, He told them, make sure that she knows that pray as much as you can, but when you're tired, sit down. In other words, don't go to extremes, don't overexert yourself. The deen is easy. Don't do things that make yourself where you're punishing yourself in the salah. So this is one incident where he always would tell people and give them the easier, make it easy. Why are you making it hard on yourself? Yes, we have to do things. We can't leave, okay, I want to be easy. I don't want to pray salah. That's not what we can do. It's not an option for us. This is also an extreme. You have to do something, because that's part of the deen. Your action shows what's in your heart. So you have to do things, but we always do that is easier for us. So this action and many other actions where the three men came to them and they said, I'm going to fast constantly. The other one says, I'm not going to marry. What did he tell them? I marry, I fast, and I break my fast, I marry, and what was the third one?
Pray.
And I pray.
And I rest.
And I rest. I rest some nights. So whoever doesn't do this is not from me. So he always told them, basically, don't make this something difficult for yourself. It goes against what Allah wants for you. Yes, you have to do something, but don't make it to where it becomes such a burden on you that you begin to hate the deen or resent it. How are you supposed to love something like salah or something or fasting if you do it to where it becomes a hate to you? You can't force yourself to like something you don't want to do.
Yeah, sure.
You do it, but you won't have a love for it. You have to build a love for salah. If you don't make it something where it's enjoyable, you'll resent it. You may not tell anyone because you'll feel shame if you're a good Muslim anyways. You keep it between you and Allah. But you want to build a love for it. You can't do it if you're doing things beyond. You're going ghulu and going beyond the means of what you're supposed to be doing.
Brother Idris reminded me something people used to say, God ain't give you something that you cannot handle.
Okay.
More than you can handle.
That's an ayah from Quran.
That's an ayah.
لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Brother Ahmed?
Yes, I believe my brother again covered everything, but when it comes to this matter, I just would like to say something. We can, this religion is giving you the best way to handle and treat everything in a very nice and very quiet way. Even the way of talking has to be quiet and has to be nice. And even this deen or this religion do not put you do not overloading you or something like this. For example, if we have a fight or if we have a war or something, not all of you must to pray at the same time. You can divide yourself. One will gonna watch the people and the other, or guard the people, and the other people gonna pray, and they're gonna switch. So everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the best way ever in order to worship Him in a very nice and decent and easy way. Even the fasting, it's just only 1 month. It's not 2 months. It's not 3 months. Okay, if you would like to add fasting, if you would like to fast, if you would like to pray, okay, but just Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad said that you have to abide by my rules or my approaches in order to be able to be from my people. So in that case, what I'm trying to say is you have to be moderate. You have to be a good good role model for your family if they would like to be in the right track. So again and again, this religion is very simple. And the power of this religion in the simplicity or in being simple.
Okay, in our last closing out round of discussion, I want to talk about a few ways that extremism manifests itself in society. For example, we have extremism in terms of wealth. So you have a few percent of the world population owning the vast majority of wealth, which leads to what? Excessive poverty. And you'll see that if there's enough wealth and resources in the world to sustain the entire world where everyone could be at least middle class if wealth was distributed equally. And in terms, we talked about equity with Brother Muhammad Ali. We have wealth, extremism in terms of politics, where you have extreme systems, extreme leaders, extreme doctrines leading to the suppression of the people, which leads to another extremism, which is the protesting and the rioting and things like this. So you have extremism in terms of power, where people refuse to let go of power and sort of oppress the people. And these aren't new concepts. These are concepts that have been happening. They're mentioned all throughout the Quran. Extremism in terms of social behaviors, where people treat people wrongly. And we say that extremism at higher levels is a result of extremism in terms of the people. Well, there was a leader of this country where he was a very harsh and brute leader. And the people complained about him a lot. And he said, I'm from you. I'm an example of you. I'm from you. I behave like this because I was raised in your society. So if you complain about me, complain about yourselves, because I'm just a reflection of you. And I believe this to be true. Like you said, Allah Ta'ala will not,
Allah give you more than you can handle.
Give you more than you can handle. So He gave you someone from amongst you. Also extremism in terms of religion and ibadah, people who go to the extremes in terms of examples that we're seeing in the media of people who claim to do things under the Sharia, but is really contrary to the Sharia. So you have all these different systems working at the same time, and we have Islam. We're saying the Prophet ﷺ is the way, the Quran is the way, the Sunnah is the way, which I believe to be true. But how do we actually begin to work on these actual problems? We said one is ignorance, right? And I believe that's one of the greatest causes of extremism. People who just don't know. As some of the scholars say, that half knowledge is worse than no knowledge. A person that knows a little bit is worse than a person who is jahil. Because a person that is jahil, who's ignorant, says, I don't know, and I don't know. But a person who has a little bit of knowledge thinks he knows it all, and he begins to oppress people. So I want to talk about this topic of how to at least address ignorance? How do we, we as an ummah begin to address the ignorance? And also, the second part, what is the other side of a person who isn't ignorant, who knows, all right, that knows this is extreme, who isn't ignorant, but still goes on to oppress people? How do we address these two forms of extremism? How do we provide solutions, inshallah, Brother Muhammad Ali?
Well, it's a very simple way to say this. Okay, it's a very small problem, and it just requires a very serious understanding of ourselves. For we to really let go of this issue of ignorance in the deen, we have to create social Islamic awareness for people to embrace the totality of this deen. The love you have for this deen at least push your desires to really go in learning this deen, and by the time you go in learning deen, you're going to understand, you're going to be clarifying all these things. Some things you have seen it as a déjà vu before are going to be like very simple for you to understand, and from there it will driving out all this issue of ignorance in the religion, and that will control the process of creating extremism and confusion in the society. And for somebody, the other one who you say he knows, but what do you say? The other one?
Yeah, who knows, who's not ignorant, but he still, does this.
Yeah, the problem is like you should keep on praying and you classify his intention, purity of intention. If you have ikhlas, sometimes the shaitan is always coming is always trying to come into your mind and set you astray. Or you keep on having ikhlas, purifying your intention, and with dua, I think your mind is open to the kitab and sunnah. From there, inshallah, God is certainly gonna help you to addressing your own problem.
Okay.
Yeah, inshallah. So the matter is just for you to do dua. To do dua to the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's going to answer you and solve your own problem.
Okay. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I wanted to go into some more topics about the subject. Once again, it's such a deep topic and such a broad topic. There can be so much that can be covered. However, time is up, so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make what we have mentioned thus far beneficial, and to allow us all to be ummatan wasata, to be a balanced nation, inshallah ta'ala. I'd like to thank my noble guests for bringing so much enlightenment. May Allah Ta'ala reward you and increase you in ilm and increase you in barakah. Until next time, I'm your host, Yusuf Kroma. Tune into our next show. Let's talk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. Perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Allah. I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Your mercy is great.